Alrighty, good day everyone. So here we are, bombing along here, doing a bit of an effort. Now this first part is of me doing the effort, so I'm leading out, and then Alf takes over and goes across the bridge. So I just thought I'd put this video on while I answer this question. Now, I was asked a question by Ray, and this was about a week ago. And sorry, mate, I haven't got back to you earlier. I've been busy as renovating a house. So just getting into these now. But anyway, let's have a look. Ray started riding again about 8 months ago. Now, he was 261 pounds, right? Rides a Diamondback Century 5. Lives in Florida, so fairly flat. Rides the Hawthorne Trail. Let's see. So the heart of the topic is, in the first 4 months he lost around about 10 pounds, right? So that's good. He then quit drinking milk, so he was drinking about 4 to 5 gallons of milk a week. All right, so 4 months after cutting down the milk, lost an extra 40 pounds. Now that will help for definite. Diet is definitely part of it. Okay, so that's good, and he's now down to about 211 pounds, and he's stalled at that weight, so can't really get much more off. All right. Now they also have daylight savings over there in Florida, and since then, obviously, when it gets darker, the trail that he normally rides is closed. So he's taken up running, the occasional 5Ks to keep up conditioning, and he also runs on the treadmill. Now, when he's on the treadmill, by the looks of this, he's strapping on an extra 60-pound weight vest for about 30 minutes to burn extra calories, and that seems to be helping. So what he's saying is, would this apply to cycling? In other words, given the flat terrain, would strapping on an extra 20 to 30 pounds benefit more over an hour ride, say, versus riding in a harder gear in respect to losing weight and building endurance? Look, for me, I would say no. All right, weight vests, I would say, are the sort of thing you would put on when you are conditioned and you want to, not for cycling though, but when you're conditioned and you're doing a run and you want to make the run harder, because you've already leaned out and you're at the weight you want to be, you just want to make the run harder, so then you'd put on a weight vest, okay, and that will help to give you a harder workout. So as far as what you're trying to achieve, no, I would say ditch the vest. When you're on the treadmill, you don't need the vest on. I would say make sure you've got a heart rate monitor on, and you keep your heart rate elevated over 120 beats per minute. So you need to be over 120 beats a minute to get into the fat burning zone. Heart rate is more important than putting on a weight vest. So when you're on the treadmill, over 120 beats a minute, so say 125, 130, get into that zone, whatever you feel comfortable. Once you're up to that heart rate, get into that zone and sit there for about 20 minutes. That is going to be more beneficial than putting on a weight vest. So definitely do that when you're on the treadmill, and so ditch the weight vest altogether. And when you're on the bike, again, I wouldn't bother with a weight vest. To lose more weight on the bike, I would be turning up your cadence, hitting a higher cadence. So trying to get your cadence somewhere between 90 and 110. So for me, 95 is pretty comfortable. So that is going to get your heart rate elevated. Again, higher cadence will get your heart rate up now over that 120, and that will also help your endurance over time, and it will help you lose weight. It's going to help you burn more calories rather than grinding away in a harder gear. So they're the sort of things I would be doing if you're looking solely at losing weight, and that will help to build endurance on that as well. Now, the other thing you're going to have to do is diet. You're going to have to sort out diet. Now, don't forget, whether you're eating good food or bad food, it doesn't matter. They're all calories, all right? Now, obviously, the better foods you're eating, the better it's going to be, isn't it, all round, let's be honest. But at the end of the day, no matter how much exercise you're doing, if you're doing exercise and you're burning 5,000 calories a day, all right? If you're eating 5,500 calories a day, you're going to put weight on. That's all there is to it. That is as simple as it is. So you need to make sure that you are eating the right sorts of foods at the right time to complement your exercise, your workout, because your body's a funny thing. It will naturally want to store fat because it's always looking at storing food or having some reserves for a rainy day if there's no food around. So by tricking your body, your mind, whatever, by tricking it, what you do is you have to eat less food more often and combine that with your regular exercise, and that way your brain says to yourself, because you're eating more often, your brain starts to say, well, you know what, there's plenty of food always coming in, so I don't need to store any of this for fat. I don't need to store any fat anywhere for a rainy day. So what happens then is, with your exercise, it starts to burn those excess fat stores, and you've tricked your mind into thinking, or your body into thinking, that you don't need any reserves because there's a constant food supply there. Now, it does take a few weeks to get it into that rhythm, to kick it over, because its natural instinct is to store some fat. No matter how big you are, you could be 400 pounds, your body, if you eat more food, if you're eating big amounts of food and less often, so you're eating a big meal, 3 big meals, and there's big gaps in between, no matter how big you are, your body's still going to go, well, it's been 4 or 5 hours since I've eaten, I need to store some food in case we don't get any more. So the less food you eat more often, it puts your body into that notion that it doesn't need to store extra fat anywhere, and that is the secret to staying lean, I would say, and combining that with some regular exercise. And you've got to have that exercise up over 120 beats per minute. That is the key to it. And don't forget, good or bad calories, either way, you can put weight on. You can put weight on if you eat just fruit all day. You could eat fruit all day long, and you know, if you are burning, if you're eating more fruit, so you're putting more calories in than you're actually burning, no matter how good the calories are, you're going to put weight on. That's all there is to it. So you need to get the balance right, and that just takes a bit of time. You need to sort of work out the amount of exercise you're doing, and just slowly work out the sorts of foods, on the amounts of food that you need. So what I tend to do is I just graze. I eat every couple of hours or so, every 2 to 3 hours I'll eat something, but they're not massive meals, and I'll still have a big dinner. I'll still like my dinner and all the rest of it, but I'll eat during the day. I eat less food more often, and that seems to have worked for me. You know, I've stayed at this 78 kgs for a few years now, and I've had no dramas whatsoever. So a lot of it will come down to your diet. You need to get your exercise right. Obviously, you've got to get over 120 beats per minute, and you've got to get your diet right. And at the end of the day, if you're continually putting weight on and you're doing the exercise, it's just because of the amount of food you're eating. That's all it has to come down to. And you have to look at that and start to adjust it. That's as easy as that. So for me, as far as putting the weight belt on, I wouldn't bother unless you're well and truly conditioned and you want a harder run, so you want that run to be a bit more intense. That is when I would say you start putting a weight belt on. But apart from that, you don't need it. Up your cadence, eat properly, and you'll start to lose the pounds. Anyway, hope that's helped. If you've got any questions or comments, you can post them down below.